the supervolcano that nearly wiped us out. 74,000 years ago, the world ended and began again. No one alive remembers it. No civilization recorded it. But every one of us still carries the scars. This is the story of the supervolcano that nearly wiped out humanity, and the survivors who kept the fire alive through ash, silence, and extinction. This is not myth, not legend, but science, written in ice cores, in ocean sediment, and in our DNA. Welcome to Toba, where the earth roared and our story was almost erased. Before the fire, the earth had been quiet for a while. Homo sapiens had emerged on the African continent. We were few, scattered bands, hunters, gatherers, wanderers. We shared the world with other hominins, Neanderthals, Denisovans, and unknown ghost lineages. There were no cities, no kings, no monuments, only stone tools, firelight, and the stories told through gesture and gaze. Then the sky darkened. The eruption Mount Toba, in what is now Sumatra, Indonesia, was no ordinary volcano. It was a supervolcano, and it didn't explode. It collapsed. A blast more than 5,000 times the size of Mount St. Helens. A plume that reached the stratosphere. Ashfall that covered continents. A volcanic winter that would grip the world for years. The blast reshaped rivers, raised tsunamis hundreds of feet high, buried entire regions beneath layers of pumice and ash. And somewhere far away, thousands of miles from the eruption, small groups of humans watched the sun disappear at midday. The air grew sharp. The world grew cold. And they knew life would never be the same. A tale of extinction. For decades, scientists painted a grim and terrifying picture of what happened next. The theory went like this: ash clouds circled the globe, blocking sunlight. Photosynthesis faltered, plants died, the great herds starved, and so did the humans who hunted them. This wasn't a local catastrophe. It was imagined as a global apocalypse. Entire ecosystems collapsed. Rain patterns shifted. Deserts expanded. And in our DNA, geneticists saw what they believed was the scar of this event. They proposed a terrifying hypothesis, a drastic reduction in human population. From tens of thousands to perhaps a few thousand individuals. Some estimates said fewer than 2,000 breeding humans survived on the entire planet. The story was clear. We had come to the very edge of extinction. And for a long time, we believed it. The ghost in our genome, the proof, it seemed, was written in our blood. In the 1990s, geneticists discovered something strange. Modern humans are surprisingly similar to each other, genetically. Too similar. As if at some point our diversity had been squeezed through a tiny opening. They called it a genetic bottleneck, a narrow tunnel through which our entire species had to pass. And when they looked at the timing, it appeared to be a perfect match for the Toba eruption. It was a perfect story of near-death and miraculous survival. A story that made sense. Until it didn't. Twist in the ash. Because science never stands still. It questions. It digs deeper. And then in caves in South Africa and India, archaeologists found something that would rewrite our story. They dug down through layers of time, and they found a thin, pale, unmistakable layer of Toba's ash. Beneath that ash, they found the stone tools of our ancestors. And then directly above that ash, they found more tools. The same kind, made by the same people. There was no break, no disappearance, no extinction event. Humanity had faced the single greatest eruption of the last 2 million years, and kept going. The question suddenly changed from, how did a few survive? To, how in the world did so many endure? The resilient species, it wasn't just luck. It was something more. Something written into our social DNA. Some groups survived because they were coastal, harvesting the resilient sea. Others lived in pockets of the world less affected. But the true answer was deeper. Cooperation, adaptability, communication. In a broken world, we learned to share information faster, to innovate new ways to find food, to form larger social networks relying on neighbors we'd never met. Empathy became our shield. Community became our fortress. And survival became our shared legacy. The cost of endurance. But make no mistake, survival came with a price. Trauma buried deep in cultural memory. Hardship that shaped generations. Some believe the earliest flood stories may trace back to the aftermath of Toba. Others point to long periods of stagnation in tool development as if knowledge itself had nearly been lost. It's possible we had to relearn what we once knew. That the world had to begin again. That we forgot and remembered. The world that came after, when the ash settled, when the skies cleared, when warmth returned, we emerged. Changed. Genetically pruned. Fewer in number, but connected. This may have been the moment that shaped our global dispersion. The Great Migrations followed. Into Asia, across Europe, eventually into the Americas. The world had broken, and we built anew. Are we still at risk? Toba was not the first supervolcano, and it won't be the last. There are others. Yellowstone in the US, Taupo in New Zealand, Campi Flegrei in Italy. They sleep beneath our feet, but their breath is fire. We build cities atop ancient scars. We forget that the earth doesn't ask permission. We now know our ancestors were tough enough to survive it. But that was a world of scattered, resilient bands. Could our fragile, interconnected modern world survive such a blow? In a modern world, one Toba-scale eruption could mean famine across continents, economic breakdown, mass migrations, wars over resources. We survived it once as a species, but our civilization has never faced such a test. Scientists monitor volcanic regions for signs, seismic activity, gas emissions, ground deformation, but warning doesn't always mean prevention. Toba gave no warning. It was a deep earth explosion beyond the reach of early detection. And even if we knew, what could we do? Where would 8 billion people go? A species on the edge, we pride ourselves on progress. Satellites, gene editing, artificial intelligence. But we remain vulnerable to rocks, to ice, to fire. We are the species that split the atom, but not the one that can silence the earth. Nature is patient, and when it moves, it does not negotiate. The fire within. Yet despite it all, we endured. The survivors of Toba passed down more than just DNA. They passed down awe, fear, rituals, the understanding that we are fragile but also tenacious. We tell stories around fire to this day. Perhaps because once only fire stood between us and the void. We paint walls, we mark time, we remember loss. That instinct? It's not modern, it's ancient. Legacy in the ash. Every human alive today descends from those who made it through. Your heartbeat is proof of their courage. Your breath is a memorial. We owe them more than gratitude. We owe them remembrance, because they carried us through a world of death and into one of possibility. What to remember? So the next time you walk beneath a blue sky, think of the ash, the silence, the few who endured when many fell. They weren't heroes in myths. They were people, scared, hungry, and they refused to vanish. They built the world we inherited. Let us build one worthy of them. Subscribe to Epoch Echo, where forgotten resilience still speaks.